I'd like to talk to you about PowerStone therapy. I've been teaching this for a very long time, especially in Japan. And of course, as I teach, my spirit guides gave me more information. And so over the years, what began as crystal acupuncture actually evolved. And being that I was in Japan with so many different therapies, my company that I worked for wanted a title, so we integrated all the different things that I do into the word PowerStone therapy, and somehow it stuck. So I'd like to explain to you what PowerStone therapy is. First of all, for all your illnesses and diseases, you must understand that there is always something natural that will help you recover, help you get better. So when I discovered I had Parkinson's disease, I said to my spirit guides, I am not going to end up like my grandma who was walking around like Muhammad Ali. I said, this is not going to happen to me. And about that time, my father actually started to get it as well. And so I was in my mid-30s, and he's 25 years older than me, so do the math. And over the years, I taught him a lot of how to treat himself with PowerStone. And so I'm happy to say at the grand age of 98, he's still with us. His brain is sharp. We do have a little bit of forgetfulness about immediate history. That's to be accepted. But the only signs of the Parkinson's he has is that he does tremble when he writes and feeds himself. But other than that, he can walk around, he does all sorts of things. He's not inhibited or restricted. And so, in a way, he's a model for me to know that what I do and what I teach and how I treat myself is a model for me and for everyone else. So let me tell you about PowerStone, why they put it all together. Well, first of all, you need to understand that in every rock that you're finding on the floor to mountains like the Rockies, they are made up of molecules, atoms, if you like, even go even smaller into chemistry and say particles of different minerals. And of course, thousands and billions of years ago, when this Earth was a molten mass, everything cooled in different forms. The gases cooled in different ways, and as a result, we have a variety of different stones all over the world. Now, each stone, when it cooled, cooled according to its personal, if we want to call it personal, its condition, circumstances. So you can pick up two pieces of rock from the same area and they don't feel the same. They carry the energy wave of you differently. So over the years, I was exploring, looking for different stones. I went to the most expensive, like diamonds and rubies, to the cheapest ones, like agate. And the ultimate thing was that I found that when God, if you want to use that form, or when the universe created Earth, what we found was that everything on this planet provides us with everything we need. Of course, in the early years of our growth, humans looked at plants, didn't even know about lighting a fire, so they didn't even cook their vegetables, but they tried different things. They had an intuitive instinct that a certain plant was edible, another one wasn't. They found out by trial and effort that some were diuretics and some were, pain relievers and so on. And so over time, as the world got sicker, so people looked for more and more things to heal them. And one of the ancient things that people discovered was that lying on stone brought them into a calmer space, brought them into a psychic, intuitive, instinctive space where they could talk to someone, God, mind, spirit guide, angel, whatever they wanted to call it. So the early traditional things over 5,000 years before Christ, even before the Egyptians were aware. If we go into China, for example, um, those people realized that even the bones of animals had healing properties. So they used bone a great deal for healing. They also used stones to massage and manipulate, heat, or cool them in some way by putting them in cold water or putting them in hot fires would in some way help heal the body. And here we are all these years later, now very much focused on mining, bringing up out of the earth thousands of different types of stones that we didn't even know existed. And so what great joy there was for me to find out that there wasn't just the agate stones on the pathways that I could play with and the chippy little itty bits that I could find that I could use on an acupoint. There were now jewelers cutting stones into points and, wonder of wonders, hundreds of different kinds of stones. So if you've been to a gem fair in your locale, I'm sure you've been acquainted with the many different types of stones that there are. Well, while all this was going on, I was actually experimenting with the stones. I was using them on myself to see how they made me feel, think, act, what they did to me spiritually, how they moved the energy along my neural system, how my muscles responded, how my inner organs responded, and so on. So I was my first guinea pig years ago. And then Spirit brought me people who were ill, sick in some way, and I experimented on them. But with one difference. I had a running commentary in my spirit guide master chain telling me if you put this point here, you will feel something down there in your bottom. Sure enough, I did. Wow, I said. Then when I started working with people, I had a running commentary in my head about why the energy was blocked and what was going on and so on. And so little by little, I learned a great deal. I was also studying psychology and psychiatry, so I knew a lot about that. I was also reading a lot about the brain and went on to do even more advanced work on that. I was fortunate that I'd been in anatomy and physiology for many years at school, nursing, and so on. So I had a pretty good background on knowing how the body worked, how it got sick, what different diseases and illnesses were, and so on. So, having come to know all the stones on the earth that were available in the early parts of my research, I found that the most effective stones were the ones that were most readily available. The cheap stones, the agate family, the quartz that was in agate. And so I started to work with that and provide that for my students. And then came a later time when I started to realize just how important the spiritual side of things was. And having studied sacred geometry and knowing how important the triangle was, spirit guides told me I was to work with triangles, and spiritual crystal acupuncture was born. With that therapy, you prepare yourself for your meditations and you choose one triangle to put on one chakra. That's all you need, and off you go. You have lots of experiences. And of course, my books explain which stones do what, where, and how, and so on. And once I'd done that, then I began to realize just how important facial expression is. You know, we have our miserable face, our happy face, and I have talked about videos on beauty crystals, so I'm not spending a lot, but I want to remind you that your face and your expressions are very important. And the character lines, they're wonderful, but those itty bitty wrinkly ones, they're not so good. We want to get rid of them. Beauty crystal will do that. But more importantly, your face is connected to every thought, every feeling, every emotion you've ever been through. And that facial crystal acupuncture treatment, as we call it, beauty treatment, will move the energy throughout your entire body relative to the emotional expressions that you have had throughout your life, whether they're good or bad. And having dealt with that and worked on myself and researched it on other clients and so on and so forth, I finally got to a point that, what about hearing? Sounds. We hear so many when we're infant babies that we don't even know what they are, but they make us jump. And throughout our lives, screeching traffic, yelling parents, other kids screeching at us, whatever it is, in some way, we are affected emotionally and mentally. So I needed to get together something that would really work on moving fear, pain, anger, and guilt from sound. And out came Trinity Stone Healing. Very, very, very powerful. And you can work with those on your own. You don't have to have training a great deal, unless, of course, you're going to mix the stones and mix the therapies. So from there, I was already working on core pterogram and pterogram therapy, both of which you can read about in my book. The core pterogram is very important when bringing up old history you need to dump but not analyze. You know, we were too many therapies back in the 70s where we take every little itty bitty thing, and I did it to myself, went back in my ancestry and looked at every single thing and deprogrammed myself of all the many things I taught to believe, or that I'd made myself believe because I'd put two and two and made 99. Okay, when I got into PowerStone, I began to realize that all these different therapies that I had integrated. And so I developed a course on PowerStone therapy. The first level is all about learning about your meridians and your chakras and how to treat yourself and treat your family members and help friends. You're not qualified, but you are qualified in the sense that you know what you're doing and you can help a lot of people that way. And if you are qualified in other therapy treatments like Reiki and so on, you can integrate level 1 with your work and you'll find it'll make a big difference. I love that. I love that all the therapies I have work with other people's therapies too. For example, regeneration therapy or angel blueprint patterning that people are talking about now. You can work with crystal acupuncture and pterogram therapy and make those two therapies even more effective. So once I'd done that, then I began to realize that we needed to learn how to mix the different kits. So I have certain courses available on level 2 where you learn psychology and psychiatry again. You learn how to handle people who emotionally break down and cry or get angry, because part of mixing the therapies is to bring out that locked away, hidden, dark secret of emotion that is causing you pain every day. So we need an outburst, or we need a dream, or we need some daydreams. We need the brain to process in a different way. So yes, the hypnosis comes in here, because when you're using the mixed therapies, you automatically, without any suggestions, you will automatically go into a state of hypnosis or meditation where you can tell yourself to think differently, connect with your spirit guides, release fear, pain, anger, and guilt from what you've heard, what you've seen, what you've touched, what you've done. And of course, in helping yourself, you'll want to help other people. And that's where we go on to level 3 and mix it into the psychiatry, the psychology, the counseling, the psychic development. And at that point, a lot of my students roll over and want to do psychic development level 1 through 4 again and get their mastership in using their psychic skills. So I just want you to understand that core pterogram therapy is so vital in that it helps shift. It's like stirring the tea leaves in the bottom of a teacup, and those tea leaves come to the surface. So core pterogram therapy will bring things up that you've long forgotten that have been marked in your body as a time where something important was happening. And when we bring that up, we bring it out with the 6 pterograms, the normal pterograms where the chakras are rebalancing and realigning, and where the hypnosis comes in, where you can tell yourself, or a therapist can tell yourself, that that was history, it doesn't matter anymore, but look at what you become as a result of having those experiences. So we want you to understand that your life is full of experiences, and though they may be negative, they ultimately taught you something positive. So in the PowerStone course, we focus on being positive, being able to take your life and mold it into the form that you want, so that you can then go out there in that world and share your experience. You know, there are a lot of people who say, well, I'm a cancer survivor. How about going out and saying, I'm a PowerStone healing therapy survivor, or I'm a meta physiotherapist who does PowerStone. So if you'd like to know more about studying PowerStone therapy and learn my 6 therapies that are all to do with crystals and to do with the state of the mind, emotion, and body language, then contact me, because we're looking at building this now as a course on Sumari's Education Center. At the moment, you're going to find Level 1 Psychic Development is up already. I'm also looking for other therapists who are fully qualified and trained in their therapy to also come on to Sumari's Education Center and teach their therapy. Now, it could be anything. It could be how to do Reiki Level 1 if you want to do that, or it could be something new that you've discovered that you're trying to get out there in the world to teach people, and you'd like to do a short video about it. Contact me about what you're capable of doing, because I want to hear from you, and I want to help the world heal. Don't you? All right, and of course, all of you know who are following me that I do have books on Amazon. You can see them on my normal website, sumaricenter.com, and there's a lot of information you can learn from those and from my radio show on Web Talk Radio, Journey into an Unknown World, and also all my videos that are already up. So do subscribe to my channels, and do write to me, and do opt in to our website, because we do give away free stuff now and again, and I'm sure everyone loves some free stuff. So be happy, be well, see you soon, bye.